Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Sean, and today we are talking about Refuge, and our copy was provided for review, but the thoughts in this video are all our own. And Refuge is a 2 to 4 player game designed by Gérald Cattiaux.
In Refuge, you are going for a lovely walk through the forest, trying to see as many things as you can before the big storm comes. And how you're doing that is through push your luck, bag building, and a little bit of tile placement. But before we get too into it, let's look at how it plays.
You start the game with a refuge tile, a couple of boots, and a bag filled with a bunch of tiles and a wooden house. Each round, all players simultaneously draw from their bag either 2 tiles or their house. Players that drew 2 tiles choose one of them and gain its bonus, which might include things like boots or points or drawing more tiles. And then they place that tile face down into their walking route. If one or both of the tiles that you drew had a storm on it, you have to add that tile to the weather track. Then, if you want, you can choose to spend a few of your boots to buy another tile and add that to your bag. Players that drew their house head home to their refuge, scoring any points for animals showing on their walking route, and discarding 1 tile if they like. And then they're safe from the storm for this round. Finally, once everyone has played and bought or headed home, take 1 tile from the weather pile and add it either to the storms or the suns. And then you do it all again. That is, unless a storm hits. If the number of storms ever exceeds the storm warning space for your player count, everyone who hasn't gone home yet has to run home before that storm hits. These players won't get any points for animals in their row, and they have to spend 1 boot for every remaining tile, or they lose points. After 5 rounds of heading out on walks and avoiding the rain, players compare their final points, and the greatest hiker is named.
The theme for Refuge is very charming. I love that you're just like meandering, taking a stroll through the forest, and you actually see the walk that you're doing, and a lot of the things that you're seeing are just trees.
Yeah, it is. It's super cute. It's just a game about going for a walk. It's so simple. But there is that storm coming, and there is lightning, and so it is all about the push your luck. Push your luck is really at the heart of this game. There is also that little bit of bag building. We'll come back to that, but it is about that. It's about, you see that lightning come out, the 1 and 2, especially when someone pulls 2 at once, and then all of a sudden it's full of lightning, and thinking, what are the odds? I've got 1 left in my bag. I know that it's 50-50 with the one that I'm flipping. So do I go 1 more because I need to catch up? That is, I think, really where the heart of the fun of the game is.
Yeah, definitely. And it can be a really tough choice because there are times when you'll have both your lightning left in the bag and you think, I could pull both, so I'm going to bow out. But if you bow out and the other people don't, you've made it potentially safer for them because your bag maybe was the riskiest one.
Yeah, if they already have their lightning out and then you're just kind of giving them a gift because now they only have to worry about the 1 lightning. And so that is interesting. There is also the bag building element, but I will say that doesn't come into play quite as much as I might like it to, and that's partly because the walks can be a little bit fast. Sometimes that lightning gets going a little crazy, and you get zapped, or the real fear of zapped, before you can buy too many tiles. But it is still there, and it can feel a little different with those different tiles.
So in terms of replayability, the biggest things are the tiles that you're adding to your bag. And there are 3 different sets that you can use. But even within a set, you might choose to go different routes. You might be primarily trying to get ones that just get you a lot more boots, that let you add a lot more tiles, or you might be doing ones that let you see the most amount of animals. So there is variability within a set, let alone when you use different sets that do different things between each set.
And the sets are kind of sorted by complexity, but don't expect this to get like terribly complex. This is a very, very light game, even with like the most complex of those tiles, because you're gonna have like one extra symbol on a tile or something, but really it is either you're getting boots, you're getting hearts, you're getting animals, which are just points when you come back, or there are occasionally ones that are like you're getting rid of your weaker tiles that you have. And there's a couple slightly weird ones where you pull a few extra tiles out of your bag, as well as ones that are tied to how many tiles do I have, or I think the most interesting ones, how many suns are out right now, because I like those because they get stronger the later you pull them.
Yeah, and some tiles are really cheap, so maybe you just go all in on the cheap tiles and add a whole bunch of them, or maybe you save all of your boots for the like big boot value tiles, but 12 boots is a lot, so you'd really have to go like 1 or 2 rounds just saving your boots to purchase those, but it could pay off and be worth it. You just really have to hope that you draw it.
And the one thing I will mention that is going to be a problem for certain people is that when you take a single boot, you have to say a boot. And our friends make fun of us nonstop. Every single time that happens, it's like, hey, can you pass me a boot? And they're like, I've heard it. I've heard what I've said. So I feel like we've been, as Canadians, we've been targeted and set up by this game, but I still do like it. And yeah, you can definitely follow those different paths. And saving up for that big tile can really pay off, because a general, like a winning score in this, at least for us, has been like 40-ish. And some of those big tiles can get you like 10 points. That's a huge chunk of your points, especially if you can get that in those first couple rounds and then get that out. That can really, really work for yourself. But yeah, sometimes you just want to save a boot for later.
Refuge plays for 2 to 4 players, and it does feel very different at 2 compared to 3 or 4. Because with Push Your Luck, it really depends on the lightning that's coming out of people's bags. And so for 2 players, there's only like 4 possible lightnings that you're pulling out, but that can come up like really quickly. I do think that at higher player counts, it feels like the walks are longer. Oh
yeah, they definitely are. And the where it ends, so how many lightning pull-out moves depending on player count. So there are, I don't know, quite a few more, I think, for 4 players. But it changes a lot because the ones that you've got as like your base ones that you flip over every single turn that's kind of your main driver at 2 players, because you've only got 4 between you, although those are still going to come out. But in later rounds, hopefully you've built up that bag a little bit, so those come out later. But you're still getting all those other ones. So your rounds kind of remain fairly quick. But at 4 players, the main source of lightning is coming out of everyone's bag. So as you build those bags up, the walks get longer and longer. So in a 4-player game, when you get to like that 5th round, you've got quite a decent walk, and you can actually really see the bag that you've built up. But at 2 players, I found that the walk kind of stays at like 5, maybe 6 tiles if you get really, really lucky. And it never really moves past that. And sometimes it's even like 3 or 4.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel as risky, because if you have really, really terrible luck, you could maybe both pull your lightning, but the odds of that happening are so slim. Whereas if for 4 players, it doesn't feel like that unlikely that 3 or 4 people pull a lightning. and you wouldn't be anticipating that. So you would probably be like, yeah, I'm safe. I'm definitely going to continue. And then be like, oh no, the storm is coming and I do not have boots to get home.
And I think the other fun thing in 3 or 4, and I think really where the game is when those people kind of bail early, and then see the other people like keep on pushing and think, oh man, I wish I stayed in this. Because even though it's not really player elimination, you're just kind of out for like a couple of turns. So it's never like that harsh, but it is that like, I thought everyone was gonna give up, and then these ones didn't give up, and now look at them. Now look at this wonderful walk that they're taking, and yeah, I'm safe at home, but to what end? And 2 players, you don't get you don't quite get that feeling that you get when you're that one person left behind and the other three are just having their lovely walk. And I think that is kind of important to the game too.
Yeah, the first time I played this, I was definitely scared of getting like left out in the rain. And so I played it safe and came back. And you are right. When everybody else kept going for like 2 more rounds, I was just like, oh, the weather is fine. There are no storms. Why did I go home?
And that's not to say that this is like not playable at 2. It totally is. We've played this a bunch at 2. We've enjoyed it at 2, but we definitely, I would not buy it if I was only playing it 2. I think I wouldn't recommend it just for people who are strictly going to play it at 2. You got to be playing it at 3 or 4, and 3 is fine too. At 3 or 4, at least occasionally, and then you got it at 2, and it's fun at 2, and you can play it quick, and it's a solid push your luck game. But that's really where it shines.
And it looks great. So let's move on to components.
So this is such a bright game. This is like a bright, beautiful game. And I think that's the thing that attracted me to it, because I saw this at Essen and I was really excited about it right away because it is just so unbelievably bright. And, you know, the tiles are nice and thick. There's only a couple wooden components, but those are fine. The bags are really solid.
Bags are lovely. They feel so nice and luxurious and much nicer than you'd expect for something you're just pulling tiles out of. And my favorite part is the round markers, which are these sheep. So every time there's a new round, you put a new sheep out in the pasture, which I think is a lovely way to mark it.
They don't tie into anything else. It's just weird, but yes, they're very, very cute. And I like that 2 of them have their eyes closed and the other 3 don't. But the art in general is just this nice kind of abstract watercolory thing that just, it looks very pretty.
Yeah, and there isn't really too much more to add towards components. The score tracker works fine. You've got the extra little 30 points if you go and you do another lap as well. But it really is a lovely looking game. So moving on to final thoughts.
So for final thoughts, I'll start with a couple of negatives. I think the first thing is I don't think that this shines at 2 players. I think you're definitely going to have the best time playing this at 4 players. The other thing I'll say is I wish that there was maybe a little bit more bag building, but part of that comes from we played this a lot at 2 players, and there is more bag building at the higher player counts, so you can get a little bit more out of that. On the positive side, there's a lot of cute little stuff here. It's adorable. I love the theme. I really like the artwork. Just going on a nice walk. That's lovely. I think that it's nice that it's got all of the different tiles. I think that works really well. And there's not enough push your luck or bag building games out there. This does both of them. That's 2 mechanics I really like. I like having them smushed in together. Very simple for people to pick up. So all of that stuff is a positive. Yeah,
it is a very light game. So the other comparison for a push your luck bag builder is Quacks. And I'd say this is quite a bit lighter than Quacks.
Oh yeah.
So that is good for bringing people in, but something just to be aware of, to not have those expectations for this game. But it's a charming, delightful theme, and it's a quick, nice push your luck game.
And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Have you played Refuge? And are there other light bag builders that we're not aware of? And push your luck games as well. The one that actually I didn't think of is Can't Stop, which I cannot recommend highly enough. I adore that game. What a terrific game. But are there other ones as well that you'd like to tell us about? Also, are there other games about taking a nice walk?
And thank you so much for watching. As usual, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time for another game.